Do ghosts exist? Listen to this spine-chilling mystery story. Keep watching our YouTube channel to find out. My YouTube channel? Stay tuned. When he dived underwater, he saw a little boy, his entire body covered with huge, terrifying tumors. The boy said, "Save me, and save yourselves." Around 1978, there was a flood. During that flood, the people there who used to bathe in the river had a problem because the current was very strong. So in order not to be swept away, some local people had placed small wooden stakes into the river. What they used to do was hold on to those stakes while bathing so they would not be carried away by the current. That was how they used to bathe there. There was a local young man whose name was Bilal. One day at noon, on that very day at noon, Bilal was bathing while holding on to one of those stakes. Suddenly, while bathing, he felt that something had wrapped around both of his legs. At first, he felt maybe it was some kind of vine or plant, but it did not feel like vines. It felt like human hands. Bilal was a brave man, so he gathered courage and dived underwater to see what exactly it was, and to try to free his legs from whatever was holding him. When he dived underwater, he saw a little boy. That little boy's entire body and face were covered with huge, terrifying tumor-like swellings. The moment he dived and looked underwater, he saw it clearly. And there was something even more horrifying. That little boy spoke to him. The boy said, "Save me, and save yourselves." At that moment, Bilal thought, "This is terrible. Human beings cannot speak underwater. Surely I have fallen into the grip of something horrifying." So immediately, screaming, he jumped back above the water and shouted, "Ghost! Ghost! It's going to kill me!" Saying all of this, he quickly came out of the water. As people naturally do, everyone believed Bilal's words when he said that something below had grabbed him like that. Because of fear, nobody entered the water anymore. Everyone stopped going into that water. But around 5 or 6 hours after this incident, the local people realized that a small child could not be found. That missing child was the local member's son. When the child could not be found, everyone kept saying he was lost, and they searched desperately everywhere. But when Bilal heard the child's name, he said that the boy he had seen underwater looked exactly like that missing child. Oh my God! When Bilal said this, everyone became shocked. Then how did that little boy speak underwater? Something horrifying must have happened to him. Everyone began discussing what terrible event could have happened. They searched desperately for the body, but they could not find it. Then another small boy said that the missing child had been playing on a tiny raft, but the place where he had been playing had no current at all. Suddenly, it felt like something flipped the raft over. There was no current, nothing, but something flipped it over, and the child fell into the water. That small child was from the riverside area, so even though he was young, he knew how to swim very well. But that child felt like something pulled him underwater. After that, he never saw him again. At first, the child forgot about it because he thought maybe the missing boy was just playing underwater somewhere else since he was such a good swimmer. So he did not really tell anyone. But later, when everyone realized the child was truly missing, that boy finally revealed the full truth. Another strange thing was that the place where they used to bathe was not the main river. It was more like a small canal. Then suddenly, within only a few days, the water there receded, even though it was monsoon season when the water should not have gone down. When the water lowered, people saw what looked like a mound of sand. And from the top of that sand mound, it looked like 2 human feet were sticking upward, as though someone had buried a person upside down with the head forced beneath the ground. Then everyone said those feet could belong to that missing child. So they quickly removed the sand. Then they pulled out the body. And what they found was horrifying. His body had become grotesque. His entire body was covered with terrifying tumor-like growths, as though he had developed some severe skin disease. A shadow of mourning fell over the area. And along with mourning, fear entered everyone's hearts. What could have happened that he died like this? He knew how to swim well. There was no strong current where he fell. And who or what had buried him upside down beneath the earth like that? This fear spread into everyone's mind. About a week after this incident, strange things began happening in that area. In the mornings, suddenly some people's dead bodies were found. Every one of those dead bodies had the same tumor-like swellings all over them. on their faces, hands, feet, everywhere. Their condition was so horrifying that they were almost unrecognizable. Yet the night before, they had been completely healthy. So what happened overnight that this disease appeared and they died by morning? And every single one of those who died had left their homes at night for some reason. Maybe nature's call. Maybe because of the heat. Maybe they had gone near the river. Nobody knew exactly why, because everyone was found dead. No one could explain what had happened. Now, if this had been some epidemic, it would spread one after another rapidly. But this was not like that. One person would die, then 3 days later another, then the next day another, then 4 days later another. This was not an epidemic. This was something unnatural. And every victim had gone outside at night. So terror spread throughout the village that no one should leave home after dark. But this was not a real solution. People needed to know what was truly happening. So they went to the local imam. When the matter was brought to him, he initially thought this could be something related to jinn or some supernatural force. He gave many explanations, but he also said he would consult a spiritual teacher. So he went to his teacher, took advice, and returned. Then he told the village's young men, "All of you will guard the eastern side of the river at night. Watch carefully who comes from that direction. Whoever or whatever comes, inform me immediately." Then one night, they saw something horrifying. It looked like a white figure was walking across the river water while carrying a light in its hand. They thought this could be something ghostly. No human can walk across water. And as it came closer, it looked like an old woman. A very tall, unnaturally tall old woman. She was extremely frightening. In her hand was a twisted staff, twisted like a snake. And in her hand was a strange light. But it was not fire. It was not like any normal light. It seemed to glow on its own. There was no electricity there at that time. And even now, that place remains isolated. So when they saw her, they immediately informed the imam. The imam came at once. As she slowly approached, he stepped forward respectfully and gave her salam. Assalamu alaikum. The moment she heard the salam, she looked at him with furious rage, as though he had committed some great offense by greeting her. Then the imam politely said, "Grandmother, are you well? Please come. We have been waiting for you. Everything for your comfort has been prepared." Without saying a word, the old woman followed them. A room had already been prepared according to the imam's instructions. She was placed there. Then they asked if she wanted anything to eat. After much questioning, she replied, "I do not eat these things. My food is something else. You cannot provide it." Then the imam said that if she needed anything, people were outside. And he left. Now the people outside were terrified. A woman had walked over the river with such a horrifying appearance, unnaturally tall. Everyone was afraid, but they did not understand why the imam was treating her so kindly. Then, about an hour later, just before dawn, the woman began screaming terribly. "Oh God, I'm dying." Immediate people informed the imam. He rushed there with everyone, and what they saw was horrifying. The old woman's entire body was now covered in those same tumor-like swellings. She writhed in agony and screamed, "Release me! Release me! I must leave before dawn." The imam asked, "Why are you killing the people of this village?" She replied, "This is my work. This is how I kill." Then she said, "You trapped me with your salam. Once you greeted me, I became bound to obey your words. But before dawn, I had to spread this disease to someone. Otherwise, it would come into my own body. And now it had entered her body." She begged desperately, "Release me now. If you harm me, countless others like me will attack your village." Then the imam said, "I can release you, on one condition. You will leave this village forever and never return." Knowing she would die otherwise, she agreed. And then, before everyone's eyes, the tumors on her body began disappearing. Everyone witnessed this. Then they escorted her back to the riverbank. And as she walked away, people noticed the mysterious light she had carried was gone. Then she began walking across the river again, and suddenly, before everyone's eyes, she plunged beneath the water and vanished. After that, no such horrifying incident ever happened in that area again. We hear stories of supernatural plagues, strange deaths, and cursed beings. Many people call these things superstition, but many elders believe these things are real. Not just belief, many among the older generations claim they have seen such things with their own eyes. And people say this was not something that happened only there. In many places, such things have happened, just in different forms. There, it completely read through. What did you think?